A soft breeze rolled through the wide streets of Plano, Texas, carrying the scent of hot asphalt and freshly cut grass. The sun reflected off rows of polished luxury vehicles, lined up like trophies outside Vanguard Motors, one of the most prestigious car dealerships in the state. Inside the main office, chilled air conditioning hummed against the quiet murmur of staff chatting near the reception desk. Everything looked perfect, professional, controlled. And then Marcus Cain pulled into the lot. Not in a Bentley, not in a Mercedes, but in a modest, late-model Toyota SUV, no personalized plates, no tinted windows, no fanfare. He stepped out in a plain gray hoodie, slightly faded jeans, and black sneakers. His hands were in his pockets, his expression neutral. No one would have guessed that this man had just acquired full ownership of Vanguard Motors, and that was exactly what he wanted. Marcus scanned the building, letting his eyes drift from the sleek facade to the glistening glass panels reflecting the Texas sky. He didn't carry a briefcase. He didn't wear a Rolex. He wanted to walk in as a stranger to see the truth when no one was pretending. He pushed open the heavy glass door and stepped inside. The shift was immediate. The relaxed chatter at the front desk died down, eyes lifted, brows furrowed. He felt it, the pause, the silent judgment, the faint chill that no air conditioner could cause. They saw the hoodie before they saw the man. From across the showroom, a woman approached, confident stride, clipboard in hand, designer heels clicking against the marble tile. Heather Vaughn, general manager. Flawless suit, impeccable posture. The kind of person who prided herself on knowing her clientele within 10 seconds. Her smile was professional on the surface, but Marcus noticed the micro-expression, the tight corners of her lips, the slight narrowing of her eyes, the way her gaze flicked from his hoodie to his sneakers. "Excuse me, sir," she said, her tone clipped but polished. "Can I help you with something?" Marcus offered a calm smile. "Just browsing," he replied casually, glancing at the rows of gleaming vehicles. Heather's eyes swept over him once more, top to bottom. "Are you shopping for a car?" Her tone had changed, still polite, but dipped in doubt. Marcus nodded. "Something like that." Heather paused, then tilted her head, voice lowering slightly. "We cater to a very specific clientele here. Most of our inventory requires pre-qualification. Translation, you probably can't afford this." Before Marcus could reply, a voice from across the showroom interrupted. "Heather, delivery guy's here." She didn't break eye contact. She just called back, "Tell him I'll be there in a minute," then turned back to Marcus like she was worried he might touch something he wasn't supposed to. Marcus raised an eyebrow. "You're assuming I'm not qualified?" That caught her off guard, briefly, but Heather recovered quickly. "I'm just trying to save you time," she said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "These vehicles start at 6 figures. Maybe I can recommend something more approachable." Marcus didn't react, didn't frown, didn't raise his voice. He simply stepped toward one of the nearby cars, a silver coupe with a matte finish and aggressive curves. He traced the side with his eyes, admiring the design. "Nice car," he said simply. Heather's brows twitched. "It is, and when you're ready to make a serious inquiry, we can set up an appointment, but for now I'll have to ask you not to touch the vehicles." Marcus slowly took a step back, hands in his pockets, calm. Then he looked her in the eye. "All right, let's hear it. What would you recommend for someone like me?" Heather blinked, clearly not expecting the challenge. "Maybe something a little more budget-friendly. There's a dealership just off the 75 that specializes in certified pre-owned vehicles." Marcus smiled faintly, but it didn't reach his eyes. He wasn't angry, he was observing, and what he saw told him everything he needed to know. Heather turned on her heel. "I'll be right back with a list of options." As she walked away, clipboard tight against her chest, Marcus turned back toward the car. The reflection staring back at him wasn't just his face. It was every black man who'd ever been told, "This place isn't for you." It was every customer judged by their shoes instead of their story. And it was a reminder, respect is not a price tag. He stood in silence, watching, waiting, because the most expensive thing in that showroom wasn't the car. It was the lesson they were about to learn. Heather returned with the kind of stride that said, "I'm in control." Her clipboard now held a few neatly printed pages, clamped so tight the corners had curled. She stopped a few feet in front of Marcus, handed over the list with a polite but curt smile. These are the options I think would be more suitable for your situation, she said carefully. Marcus tilted his head. My situation? Heather didn't blink, didn't flinch, but the tightness in her jaw said she heard the weight behind the question. Yes, she said evenly. These are more accessible models. Reliable, economical, practical. Marcus took the paper without a word. His eyes scanned the list, a 2016 hybrid with high mileage, a base model SUV, an older sedan with a chipped rear panel noted in fine print. He nodded slowly, then folded the paper and slipped it into his hoodie pocket. Appreciate the effort, he said. Heather wasn't sure what to do with that. Her eyes flicked to the list, then back to his face, trying to read him. Marcus kept his tone casual. You always recommend pre-owned vehicles to walk-ins? Heather gave a practiced shrug. I try to be realistic with people. Vanguard Motors isn't for everyone. Marcus met her gaze. This time he didn't look away. And what exactly makes you think I'm not your target customer? Heather hesitated, just for a split second, but enough. I've been doing this a long time, she said. You get a feel for people. I can tell when someone's out of their depth. Marcus nodded slowly as if absorbing every syllable. His face gave away nothing. But inside, he wasn't just taking notes. He was documenting culture. Interesting, he said quietly. Heather shifted her weight defensive now, but she masked it with professionalism. Look, she said, softening just a bit. It's better to be honest up front than to waste anyone's time. I don't want you to feel misled by the pricing or the process here. Marcus chuckled under his breath. Not out of amusement, out of understanding. Honesty, he repeated, then looking her dead in the eye. I like honesty, so how about this? Let me speak to the owner. Heather blinked. Excuse me? I'd like to talk to the owner, Marcus repeated, his voice calm but firmer now. Heather's smile stiffened. That's not possible today. The owner doesn't drop by. They're a busy person. Marcus raised a brow. Maybe you could give them a call. Let them know I'm here. She bristled. Sir, with all due respect, this is getting ridiculous. I have other customers to attend to. If you're serious about buying a car, we can schedule a meeting. Otherwise, Marcus stepped forward slightly. Otherwise what? The edge in his voice was subtle, but it landed like thunder. Heather blinked again. The air between them went still. Then Marcus reached into his pocket, pulled out his phone, unlocked it, scrolled. All right, he said, lifting it to his ear. I'll make the call myself. Heather's mouth opened. What are you doing? Calling the owner, Marcus replied, stepping back as he spoke into the phone. Yeah, it's me. I'm at the Plano location. Everything's fine. Just a little misunderstanding. Let them know I'm here. He ended the call, slipped the phone back into his hoodie, looked at her. They'll be here shortly. Heather froze, her face flushed. The clipboard in her hand suddenly felt like dead weight. Who did you just call? Marcus didn't answer. He simply looked around the showroom at the employees, now clearly watching. A few of them had stopped, pretending to work. One had even lowered his phone, forgetting to hide that he was recording. Marcus glanced back at Heather. Guess we'll find out soon enough. The minutes that followed felt like hours. Heather busied herself with paperwork she didn't read. The others whispered quietly across the floor, glancing at Marcus, then back to her. Marcus? He stood beside a sleek black SUV, hands in his pockets, posture easy, eyes calm. But the energy in the room had flipped. He wasn't being watched. He was doing the watching. And then the main doors opened. A man in a tailored navy suit entered. Crisp, commanding, the kind of presence that drew instant attention. He scanned the room once, locked eyes with Marcus, and smiled. Mr. Cain, he said warmly, good to see you. Heather's clipboard nearly slipped from her fingers. Marcus stepped forward, shook the man's hand with calm assurance. Thanks for coming, Alex. Heather's eyes darted between them. Mr. Cain, she repeated, confused. Alex turned to her, his tone shifting into something far more formal. Heather, I see you've already met the new owner of Vanguard Motors. The silence hit like a shockwave. Heather Vaughn just stood there, clipboard clutched to her chest like a lifeline, lips parted, eyes darting between Alex and Marcus Cain. The Owner? She echoed, voice dry. Alex turned slightly toward her, tone calm but precise. That's right. Marcus Cain is now the full owner of Vanguard Motors Plano. Gas rippled across the showroom. Even the junior sales associate near the espresso machine froze mid-pour. Heather's face drained of color. She opened her mouth, closed it, tried again. I didn't know. Marcus raised a hand, stopping her. His voice was calm, measured, but there was weight in it now. You didn't know someone like me could own a place like this? Heather's lips trembled. No, that's not what I meant. Then what did you mean? Marcus didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. Every eye was on him now, not because of the hoodie, but because of the authority in his presence. Heather faltered. I assumed you were just, you didn't look like. Didn't look like what? Marcus asked softly. The silence that followed was more honest than anything she could have said, and he knew it. So he nodded once, slowly, then turned to Alex. Let's gather everyone in the conference room. I think it's time we talked about how things are really run around here. Minutes later, the glass-walled conference room was full, every employee seated, tension thick in the air. Heather sat near the back, posture stiff, her clipboard now resting limply in her lap. Marcus stood at the head of the long table. Alex leaned near the doorway, arms crossed, saying nothing. Marcus cleared his throat. The room went still. Thank you all for coming on short notice. His voice was calm, steady. For those of you who haven't heard, my name is Marcus Cain. As of 3 weeks ago, I became the push owner of Vanguard Motors here in Plano. Whispers, a few widened eyes, a shared glance or two, but Marcus continued. Today, I didn't come dressed like an executive. No tiara, no name tag, no luxury car, because I wanted to see how this place really operates when no one's putting on a show. He let that sit. The room was still. What I experienced was disappointing. No shouting, no anger, just honesty. I was judged quickly, confidently, not by my character, not by my questions, but by my clothing and my skin. He looked around the room. Some lowered their eyes. Some nodded, almost imperceptibly. Heather didn't move. I'm not here to humiliate anyone, Marcus said, but I am here to address a culture that I won't allow to continue. He stepped forward, voice slightly deeper now. This place is supposed to represent excellence. But excellence isn't just about chrome finishes and six-figure price tags. It's about how you make people feel the moment they walk through the door. He turned his eyes to Heather, didn't glare, just held. Especially the ones you think don't belong here. Heather finally spoke, barely above a whisper. I made a mistake. Her voice cracked slightly. I misjudged you. And for that, I'm truly sorry. Marcus nodded, slow. Thank you for saying that. A pause, then he turned back to the group. This isn't just about one moment. It's about what kind of business we choose to be. He gestured to the room. So here's what's happening moving forward. We're implementing new training on respect, equity, and real customer engagement. Not fake smiles, not sales tactics, but actual respect. Another pause, every word landing like a drumbeat. Because the next time someone walks in here wearing a hoodie, I don't want anyone in this room wondering what they can afford. A younger employee near the end of the table raised a hand. Mr. Cain, do you really think one conversation can change that? Marcus looked at him. No, he said simply, but I believe leadership starts with clarity, and if I don't say it, no one else will. He turned to Heather one last time. You've been here a long time. You've helped grow this place. And I believe in second opinions, but accountability comes first. Heather nodded, eyes red, voice quiet. I understand. Marcus stepped back, hands resting lightly on the edge of the table. We're not just selling cars, we're building trust. And that starts with how we treat people, every single one of them. The room sat in heavy silence, but not a fearful one, a reflective one that said, we've all just been reminded who we really work for. The conference room emptied slowly. Whispers faded, footsteps softened, and within minutes, the only two people left were Marcus Cain and Heather Vaughn. She lingered near the door, hands clasped, unsure whether to stay or go. Her blazer felt tighter than it had that morning. Her heels heavier. Marcus didn't rush. He let the room settle in silence for a moment before gesturing to the chair across from him. "Have a seat." Heather nodded. She sat shoulders pulled in, clipboard now resting quietly on the table. No defense left to hold. Marcus folded his hands. "You've been with Vanguard a long time, right?" "Almost 8 years," she replied, her voice lower now, humbled. "I started as a sales associate, worked my way up." He nodded. "That's not nothing." She looked up surprised by the acknowledgement. "But today," he continued, "you reminded me of something I can't ignore." A pause. "That experience doesn't mean anything if it stops you from seeing people clearly." Heather swallowed. "I know." She took a breath. I've I've never been in this position before, where I'm not the one in control, where my first impression was that wrong." Marcus leaned back slightly. "It happens more often than you think. You just got caught doing it to the wrong person." Heather's face flushed. "I didn't mean to be disrespectful." "But you were," he cut in gently. Not angry, not cruel, just factual. The silence settled between them, like a quiet truth neither of them could escape. Marcus finally spoke. "Look, I'm not here to destroy anyone's career. That's not what this is about." He leaned forward now. "But I need people leading this team who know what respect looks like, even when it doesn't wear a suit." Heather nodded slowly. "I want to do better." "Then prove it." Marcus's voice was firm now. "You'll stay, for now. But you'll be part of the first inclusion and equity team we build here. You'll help retrain every staff member that walks through these doors. And if I ever hear that someone felt what I felt today, a beat, then you're done." Heather didn't flinch this time. She nodded. "Understood." She rose to her feet. "Thank you for giving me the chance. I won't let you down." Marcus stood too. "Actions speak louder than words, Heather. Start showing me." She offered a small, genuine nod. No performance this time. Then quietly stepped out, the door closing softly behind her. Alone again, Marcus took a deep breath, then turned toward the glass wall, watching his staff get back to work, smiling at customers, straightening ties, answering phones. The same showroom. But something had changed. It wasn't about the cars. It was about the culture. Later that afternoon, Marcus walked the floor, not as a mystery shopper, but as a leader. The staff greeted him with a new tone, respectful, but not performative, real. He paused near the silver SUV he'd admired that morning. His reflection stared back at him again, but this time it wasn't about being underestimated. It was about being seen. A junior sales rep walked by, stopped mid-step. "Mr. Cain?" "Yeah?" "Just wanted to say, thanks for how you handled all that. It taught me a lot." Marcus smiled faintly. "Then it was worth it." The rep nodded and walked off, a little straighter in his step. Outside, the Texas sun had dipped lower, casting golden light across the glass windows of Vanguard Motors. Marcus stood near the entrance, arms folded, taking it all in. He knew this wouldn't be the last time he was judged, but it might be the last time someone at his company did it without consequences. Because from this day forward, respect was no longer optional. It was policy. Marcus Cain didn't yell. He didn't argue. He didn't need to. He let the truth walk in on its own, then let the silence do the rest. Because real leadership isn't about power, it's about presence. And sometimes the quietest man in the room is the one who owns the building.